fundraiser for Make-A-Wish.
Tanya.
Hi. It's kind of hot.
They have these little trees. They tie ropes and make scaffolding out of young trees. I'm talking about it making hotels. The only equipment that I knew when I was in my house, they used dynamite one time. They had water and they mix it right there. And they live on the premises. They built an old hut with tar. They made the tar stuff. And they live there for the places.
Grandpa's not talking yet.
Isn't he?
Mommy,
David!
oh, let's go. I'm full.
David, come on.
In the bed, I ate too much. I'm so full. Oh, I hate when I come to these places with all this good food and eat too much. I need a bed. Aren't you full, Dave? I saw you hogging on too. How do you make growing roots?
Thank you also for your goodness and for your many blessings to us. Thank you for this reunion that you should all come here today. And we ask that what we say and do will be pleasing to you. So lead, guide, and direct us now. And we'll honor your name for you today. We ask you in your name. Amen.
Annual Manor Family Reunion was held April 26, 1992 at the Bareville Firehall with about 95 persons present. Each family brought a covered dish with a new meal. Drinks and ice cream were provided. Elvin Martin led in prayer of thanks. I also have a letter I'd like to read from Ruth Weber, Elvin and Ruth Weber, about Ida. Dear Margaret, just a note in response to the Better Reunion April 25th. We will not be able to attend due to other obligations. That is also our 40th wedding anniversary. Ida will probably not be able to attend since she is in a wheelchair and needs to do the lift when putting her to bed and at other times when she needs to be moved. She no longer walks at all, and I'm not sure that she can stand well. Her weight is difficult also. I think it would require a man in a wheelchair to transport her to another location. I'm sure she would appreciate visits, even though she gets a bit confused sometimes. Please write in the guest book, as we like to know who comes to see her and talk about that with her later when we visit her. That's love from Elvin and Ruth Weber.
Yes, you want
Hey, we're all on that road. Okay, this is my daughter Heather, brother Henry, that's Melissa, Carol, Kenny, they're Marty, children, and granddaughter. And there's other Kenny, and Carl, Brenda, brother Dave, mother Dad, and Marty. Fun.
And here's David Jr. Yeah, he has a David too.
Okay. Okay, let's move then right up with for Ida. Anybody here for Ida? Nobody's here. Okay. Well, you all heard the letter that Margaret read concerning Ida. So she's definitely still with us, and we appreciate
James.
I don't know my dad and neighbors told me Jimmy.
I thought Melvin's would be here, but I don't think they got here. Yeah.
Nice to have you all with us.
This is my son, Robert's wife, Betsy. This is their two boys here. This is my wife, Mary. My sister raised me, my husband, Ralph. My brother, Wilbur. His daughter, Iris, and her wife, raised herself, Suze. At the end there is Wilbur's wife, Alberta. This is Paul, Carolyn, Stater, Ruby, and Wilbur's daughter and son.
Glad to have you all with us.
Well, I'm Marlene, and this is my husband, Anna. Our son, Fred. My sister, Mabel. And Peggy is David's mother. This is Ann, who's David's wife. And this is David's brother, Jimmy's daughter. Elizabeth, named after our mother. Yeah. And David's two boys, David and Kyle. Did I get them all?
I can see it, Mama. I can see it, Mama.
There were 5 of us boys at home, and my Uncle Henry had no boys, he had one girl. And we were visiting there one Sunday, and as they were hitching up, as we were hitching up, as they were hitching up, to come home, I heard my Uncle Henry say to my father, "I'll give you $100 for that boy." Well, was with my father in the lawyer's office, and when we left, the lawyer said, "Take good care of that young man." So I had 2 assets. I was a young man, and I was worth $100. I was glad I had the privilege of living in these particular times. I think there was more happened in my lifetime than it did many years before. I think take for instance, we had from kerosene stoves and wood-burning kitchen stoves, and if you wanted water, you went to the pump to get it. To the present time of helicopters, computers, and a number of other things. I lived in 4 different locations. 7 years in Juniata County, 16 years trying to farm in Laycock Township, 44 years in Strasburg Township, and so far 23 years in East Lampeter Township. If you add these up together, it's 89 years. I can hardly believe it. But I had a good start. I weighed 12 pounds when I was born. In about the year 1835, a group of Mennonites migrated from north of Philadelphia to Juniata and Snyder counties. My grandfather, Testenbenner, was about 15 years old, and he said he had a very good time traveling with the boys as they walked after the wagons. We lived our family settled about 2 miles northwest of Thompsontown on a farm of 160 acres. 100 acres of woodland and 60 acres of farming land. My father furnished wood for 4 schoolhouses. On the farm was a chain pump. There were cups fastened on a chain, and as you turned the handle, the cups brought up the water. We had about, we lived about midway between Delaware congregation and the Lost Creek congregation. My Sunday school teacher at Delaware was Mabel Winey. She later married to Martin Clymer. The only thing I remember about the Lost Creek congregation, I was sitting with my father, and they sang the song, "A Few More Years Shall Roll." Well, a few more years have rolled since then. Now, if I can see this. Oh, there were 8 of us in our family. And my parents were concerned with their social welfare. In the congregation, Delaware and Lost Creek, there were very few young people, and most of them were relatives. So they decided to move to Lancaster County. We moved on the spring of 1911 on a farm of 124 acres, which was overrun by thistles. In those days, the only way to get rid of the thistles was by the sweat of your brow. So my father sent to Sears Road for 12 hoes, and we got rid of the thistles. I went to the Hollis Schoolhouse to the end of the 8th grade, 6 years without missing a day. I loved school, but I was needed on the farm, and there was no transportation except horse and buggy. We went to Hershey's Church. My Sunday school teacher was Martin Hershey. On the alternate Sundays, we went to the Old Road or to Gruffdale churches. We never went to Paradise because we thought they were a little uppish. In 1915, there was a very severe hailstorm, and in that year we only got 2 bushels of 2 wagon loads of corn. Well, one day there was a team came in our lane with 2 women from Paradise, Mary Nettie Lemon and Ida Lefevre. In the back of their general inn, they had 2 bushels of red tomatoes. We loved Paradise ever since. We had very good neighbors. John Byler's, Martin Hershey's, David Hershey's, and Chris Schrutz. I appreciate their friendship to the present time. In the growing up days, there were 3 things that I remember. In 1917, my father bought a new Ford touring car for $360. The other thing we bought was a new manure spreader. I didn't like to spread manure. Another thing we bought was a Fordson tractor. Wait till I read this. Oh, social life. In those days, we only dated every 2 weeks. And if you could have another girl the other Sunday night. I liked it because it gave you a chance to meet more people. And a lot of the boys and girls did that. But there's only one drawback to it. If you wanted to go regular with a girl, and your girl didn't want to give up her other date, you were in trouble. on my way to we were on our way to an all-day meeting at Hershey's Church, and there was a car had a flat tire on the road. And there were two girls sitting on the road bank. I didn't know any of them. One of them had such bright eyes. Several years later, the Lord led me to a beautiful and talented girl, and lo and behold, it was the girl that I saw sitting on the bank with the bright eyes. And her name was Elizabeth Rohr. Well, we were married, and as the saying goes, we lived happy ever after. Some time ago, one of the tourists noted that we were married 64 years, and I heard my wife say, yes, and we're not done visiting yet. We attended, where do I get this? Oh, we lived in Paradise Township after we were married. We went to Paradise Church after we were married. And I had the privilege and the pleasure of being secretary for 19 years. And a number of years I was first and second superintendent and a member and a teacher of the Bible class. In the early years of farming was during the Depression. I sold wheat for $1 a bushel, 50 cents for potatoes, and eggs for 15 and 20 cents. I took a job at Armstrong Court Company for a while. I got 60 cents an hour. And at the end of every Friday at the end of the week, I got a $20 bill and 4 ones. I have sympathy for the laboring man ever since. I always had a good many cows, and I became attached to them. One row of stanchions faced the opening door, and every morning when I opened the door, all eyes and heads were turned toward me. I guess I was a little queer, but I would say, "How's everybody this morning?" I never got a response, but they seemed to like it. After when I sold the farm, the farmer bought all the cows, and I suppose because of the different procedures of milking, it disturbed some of them. I must tell you the story of one cow. About a month after I sold the farm, the farmer called me up and said one of his cows wasn't doing well. And he said he had the veterinarian 3 times, and he could find nothing physically wrong with her. So he said, "She's homesick for Mr. Benner." The farmer asked me to come over and see the cow. I went over, I petted her and milked her, and she got better. The Lord has been good to us with a family of 4 children, 10 grandchildren, and 6 great-grandchildren. They all live nearby except one granddaughter and her family, which live in Idaho, and one daughter and her husband, who is a member of the Billy Graham family, and they are now in Japan. We have tourist guests for the last 30 years and have made many friends from all over the world. Since I stopped farming, I have a garden. So instead of milking cows, I help make beds. Instead of gathering eggs, I help with the laundry. I don't know whether this is a promotion or a demotion. But we are happy. We're happy in our retirement project. My summer schedule is this. In the morning I help in the house, and in the afternoon I go to the garden. We have lots of strawberries and lots of vegetables. In the evening we have from 8 to 9 we have our coffee snack. Come and join us. I am glad, as I look over my past years, I can say with the psalmist, the Lord has been good to us, whereof we are glad.
Thank you very much.
Well, you're welcome.
You did a good job, buddy.
Sorry I couldn't, my eyes couldn't see the last 3 days where he finally getting better.
Thank you, Uncle David. I want to tell you one thing. There's one thing that hasn't changed. You listed all those things that changed in your lifetime, but there's one thing that hasn't, and that's getting rid of thistles. It's still done the same. It was mentioned in the minutes that we had an onion experiment at our place in our apple cold storages last year, and I had some people ask me about it, and so I want to take this time to make a little report on that. Last year, we successfully stored daily onions in apple cold storage facilities and controlled atmosphere storage. I remember mentioning to you and talking about it to you last year this time that we thought we were going to do it and we were making plans. Well, I'm here today to tell you that the plans worked out, and we stored 24,000 bushel of daily onions last summer from about the middle of May until about the middle of August. That's the first time that onions had ever been stored in controlled atmosphere in apple storage rooms. Now, there are rooms designed to store onions in controlled atmosphere that are engineered for onions. You say, well, what's the difference? The difference is apples you want to keep at high humidity and low temperature. Onions you want to keep low humidity. So our equipment was designed and our rooms were designed for apples, which is high humidity. So how did we manage to get the low humidity out of it? Well, it took a couple of engineers, it took a lot of research knowledge, and it took a lot of daily checking on the equipment. But what we did was we took our Freon cold storage equipment and we were able to add heat into the room, which kept the thermostat from getting cold, which meant that the refrigeration that was trying to cool the room down, it never got cold. And the reason it never got cold is because we kept adding heat in. And as the refrigeration equipment was running, trying to cool down, it was dehydrating the room. The room that we had, the fullest of onions, had 16,000 bushel onions in it, the one room. That was the most onions in any one room. In that room, we had it calculated that we would have to take a gallon of water out of the room every 15 minutes for the first 3 weeks that they were in there. So that was our challenge, was to get the water out. In fact, if you multiply that out, that translates in a 24-hour period, we had to take 100 gallons of water out of the room. Now, when you take a gallon every 15 minutes, as you open your sink, you notice a drip, 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 drip. Well, to get a gallon to run out, drip, in 15 minutes, you can't do it. You have to open it up so that it runs. Just a fine run. That's a gallon in 15 minutes. The reason getting that moisture out there was so important is because if an onion gets wet, at about 36 hours after the point it's wet, it starts to rot. And rot is devastating to an onion. There's no second use for an onion. There's no second.
You probably didn't see this if you walked around up here in this area, but this is a dish from Grammy. We always said Grammy Benner, Grandma Sarah Benner, passed down to me. I don't know how, but I got it, and I'm not giving it up. This is from Grammy Benner.
Here's one of Grandma Benner's dinner plates. I know you older cousins remember seeing this. That
I might add that I
have a teacup to that plate.
That was her good set of dishes.
Yes, she gave me a teacup.
Uh-huh. And this was her cake stand. I bought this at her sale. And then this here little dish went along with it. Do any of you cousins remember this dish? The auctioneer told me after I had bought this cake stand that this here dish has lots more value to it than the cake stand that I wanted. So I got double that. That's all I have to show.
I bought these two little items at Law. When Roy's parents were married, they went on a wedding trip to Washington, D.C., and they bought these on their wedding trip. And just how it is that Roy and I have them, I'm not sure. I think the point is broken off the Statue of Liberty and the White House. I have a little project, now this isn't old, but I have a little project that I'm making our grandchildren each a comforter. And of course, I'm just having a nice time and doing this, and my little grandchildren seem to appreciate it too. This is for Herbert's daughter, Amber, who is 10 years old, and it's a single size.
Oh, yeah.
Mother and Dad brought this coffee pot. You want to talk about it, Mother? Dad?
That coffee pot's been standing in my cupboard where we live now for 23 years in the same spot. And it's minus a lid because somewhere over on the farm it got lost in the melee. And I got it out the other day and to see what was in it. And here was my extra bank key and a note duly signed by my husband that he owed me $500 for a cow. He wanted to buy a cow. This has been years back. He never paid it. But since he's taken good care of me all these lives, I forgave him the debt. Incidentally, it's too small for us. We drink more coffee than that.
Now, this is a comforter that was, I understand, on my father's bed when he was married. And I think the top was made by either Aunt Ida or Grandma Benner. And when our son Ken here was married, my mother put a new back on it because it was rotten and redid that. But, and so now Ken's been married 20 odd years, and the quilting wasn't good anymore, and so we had the Paradise Mennonite Sewing Circle requilt it, and the wool in it is from the sheep from a farm at Dry Hill, if I have it right, Daddy? Yes? They put their own, they had their own wool that they put in this comforter, and so it now belongs to our son Ken and his wife Carol and their family.
And it's heavy.
And it's warm.
Okay, then you want to talk about it? Come here. Come here, Doc. Now, these two guys here got some pictures up here for you. Kyle, what do you have on this one? Tell them what's on that. Okay. David, how about you talking about the other one?
We can't hear it.
A little louder, a little louder. Say it again, a little louder.
Some trading cards and piece sizes, and I cut them out of an old magazine.
Okay, thank you. Now, for those of you, there's three pictures up here of Aunt Ida's birthday party. If you're interested in looking at those, I'll tell you what, folks, it creates an uplift for the birds that follow. By flying in a V formation, the whole flock had 70% greater flying range than if each bird flew alone. Okay, the lesson. People who share a common direction and sense of community can get where they are going quicker and easier because they are traveling on the thrust of one another. Okay, let's go back to the wild geese flock again. Fact number 2. When a goose falls out of formation, it suddenly feels the drag and the resistance of flying alone. It quickly moves back into formation to take advantage of the lifting power of the bird in front of it. Now, what's the lesson to learn from that? If we have as much sense as a goose, we stay in formation with those headed where we want to go. We are willing to accept their help and give our help to others. Fact number 3 about the wild geese. When the lead goose tires, it rotates back into the formation and another goose flies into the point position. Now, what can we learn from that? I want to remind you about the 10 years old and younger. We want to see a nice show and tell presentation from them next year. Henry, would you please?
We had a number of items up here of Grandma Sarah Benner, my father's mother, and in her last 15 years, as some of you older ones know, she lost her mind but not a lot of her energy. And when we kept her, she would start walking real fast around the barn, and she was constantly singing, "We're Marching to Zion." Let's sing one verse in honor of Grandma Benner. As I was a little boy, she sang that around the farm. Come we that love the Lord, and let our joys be known. Join in a song with sweet accord. Join in a song with sweet accord. And thus around the throne, and thus around the throne. We're marching to Zion, beautiful, beautiful Zion. We're marching upward to Zion, that beautiful city of God. At these family reunions, we look back and reminisce a bit, and I think as the Benners, we can be thankful that we have a good Christian heritage. As far as I know, ever since John Benner got off the boat from Germany in 1742, our line of the family has always been good Mennonite Christians the whole way up through. So in honor of those who are no longer here, let's sing one verse of Faith of Our Fathers. Faith of our fathers, living still in spite of dungeon, fire, and sword. Oh, how our hearts beat high with joy whene'er we hear that glorious word. Faith of our fathers, hold we faith, we will be true to thee till death.
Thank you, Henry. Now, there's one other item to talk about up here, and that's the map we got. Doesn't look like very many pins on there for this bigger group, but let's see if we can make any observations. Now, I've already been told that the map's not big enough. I don't know, there's somebody needed somebody in, where was it, Alan? Dry Run. Dry Run, that's not, I think that's right underneath Sarah Benner here someplace, where it would fall, but that page is missing. And then somebody else, yeah, mentioned Juniata County, which would be up in here. So, yeah, I have a daughter that's going to college at Blacksburg, Virginia.
Our daughter Anita lives in Cleveland, close to Cleveland, Ohio.
We got one in Cleveland. How about some other ones?
Bedford, Pennsylvania.
This doesn't go up to Scranton. This doesn't go up to Scranton.
Our son and his family live in Maryland,
What town?
Elliott City.
Elliott City. That's near Baltimore, right?
I have a sister in American Falls, Idaho. Sister, brother-in-law, and 2 little babies.
Well, we're gonna do a lot of adding them up.
David, Penn State.
Penn State? Your daughter's up there, right? Let's see, Aunt Mabel, you're both out of school. Terry's in Philadelphia. Near Philadelphia.
I have a husband who's physically
And
here.
Allentown.
We have a son in college in Missouri.
Let's leave somewhere
Where,
else.
Virginia?
Eastern Maryland College, Harrisonburg.
Harrisonburg.
We have a
I go right past it.
We have a granddaughter, Patsy